Hello Star Wars fans and figure collectors. So I wanted to make this video just because, well, I guess because of like trends that I see in people's videos. A lot of people use figure stands, you know, with the little pegs to keep their figures standing and all that. I mean, that's what they're called, figure stands. And I use them once in a while, but I use this this product that I feel like I should see more, but people either aren't aware of it or just haven't thought of it. But I use Adhesive Putty for like everything. And I'll get into that in a second, but this stuff is great because like I don't have a ton of figures, but all I've ever used is maybe like less than a quarter of this, and this is like $2 or something like that. So this stuff goes a really long ways, and basically it's just little, you know, little tacky. I've seen this in like blue color also, but I have the regular white version. It's great because it sticks to a lot of different stuff, and it peels off really cleanly, even if it's inside like the cracks and crevices of something. You just, you know, kind of get a bigger wad of it and keep dabbing it on there until it picks it all up. Like it never leaves a mess. I guess maybe the oils in it might leave some residue on the wrong type of finish or something like that, but I haven't had any issues at all. But so obviously one way that I use it is, let's see, I put it under the figure's feet. See, I've got it under Luke Skywalker's feet, and it makes him stand really well. You know, Luke has it under his feet, Darth Vader has it under his feet, you know, many of the guys back there do, especially the ones that are in interesting poses. You can see it under the red guy's foot. Han and Leia there, that's on top of cardboard. Underneath every one of these Biff band, Cantina band guys, because they tend to topple. But yeah, it's great for keeping people standing, and especially like the Biff guys. Here, let me look at that again. See, they're so tightly put together, you couldn't have platforms for them to stand on. There just isn't room. They'd all be bumping into each other. But the tacky is great, the putty is great because they can be right up next to each other and it doesn't make a difference. Secondly, I use it for repairs a lot of the time, like for little tiny repairs. You know, if you remember my review of the Vintage Collection Grievous, I broke this part off of him when I was trying to see if it was supposed to come off, and it wasn't. And I don't have a permanent solution to it yet. I haven't, you know, glued it on or anything like that. But a little bit of putty, let's see, keeps it on just fine. You know, and if it pops off, it's no big deal. You know, I just put a little more putty and put it back on. You know, it definitely is not going to shake off or anything like that. But for displaying purposes, it's just fine. Next one, how about something random? Like, if any of you guys have this Plo Koon, I think he's Saga Legends, I don't remember. But this guy's face mask sucks because it falls off like constantly. It just barely tapping him, or anytime where like the table would shake so that figures may fall over, that's when this guy's face falls off. But you know, I put in just a little bit of the white putty and stick that thing on his gruesome looking face, and boom, like that thing's never coming off. So you know, random little things like that. Another one that's very similar is if your guys ever have problems holding their weapons, a lot of the time you use rubber bands. But you know, that can be hard to manage and to get the weapon to be oriented the exact way you want, especially if you got something really big, like a lightsaber or something like that. Like, it's hard to rubber band all the way around it and things like that. So here I have Boba Fett carrying two of like the generic guns that you get in like the packs. He's got two of them, which don't normally fit in his hands. They're normally too loose for his hands, but I put in some putty and they're just fine. You know, they weren't made for him, but they work perfectly. And you know, well, this thing doesn't focus that well, but it's focused more back here on me. But you can hardly see the putty in those hands. You know, it's disguised very well with the look of clay, or with the look of the plastic that they're made of. And it's not big and obvious, especially because the stuff that I have is white, so that's a pretty neutralist sort of color. I have to admit, the only drawback is that, you know, with stands, if you set them down and then you want to move them, you just pick them up and you set them down somewhere else, and you can move them all around. And yeah, it's that's nicer, because with putty under their feet, you kind of have to like re-push down their feet on the ground to get them stable and stuff like that. But even if you like using your stands, I'm sure you have characters, I know I do, where their pegs don't fit correctly on the stand, like in the way that it's supposed to. Maybe the peg is too big and the hole is too small, although usually it's the other way around, that like the peg is too small and the hole in their foot is too big. Like maybe it's gotten you know, stretched out after keeping it on the peg for a long time, and you know, the hole is like expanded in size. A little bit of putty will fix that. This stuff is amazing, and if you don't use it, you should, because it's like, it's literally $2, $3, something like that. I don't know, even if it's $10. I bought this once, and I hardly have a figure up there that doesn't have putty on it somewhere, whether that's keeping a helmet on, or a hat, or a weapon, or keeping them standing. And it just goes a really, really long way, because obviously you want to use less so it's not very visible. But yeah, that was just, you know, friendly public service announcement from Mr. Corellian, and goodbye.